Did you ever pull up the tactical map in Tiberian Sun and just sit there for a second, trying to figure out how you're gonna crack the mission? I know I did. Some of you probably built a wall of Titans and just steamrolled everything. Others, you know who you are, took the sneaky back route, sent in a squad of engineers, and won in 5 minutes without firing a single shot. We've all had our style. I spent the last week replaying Tiberian Sun, and it really hit me. This game, with all its mechs and stealth tanks, is a perfect battlefield laboratory for Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Whether you're a brute force GDI commander or a sneaky nod tactician, the game forces you to choose a path. So, in this video, we're going to break down those 3 core playstyles, using overwhelming force, having an impenetrable defense, or using a stealthy strike, and show you why switching between them is what separates winning a mission from truly understanding the game. So let's start with the one that probably comes to mind first when you think of GDI. If you were like me, your first instinct in any RTS was to build the biggest, baddest army possible. There's just something satisfying about selecting a massive group of units and clicking on the enemy base. For GDI, that's their whole identity. Slow, powerful, and utterly overwhelming. Sun Tzu said something that fits this perfectly. Victorious warriors win first, and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first, and then seek to win. Basically, the battle is won before it starts. It's in the preparation. GDI's early game is all about that. You're not only cranking out units, you're locking down whole Tiberium fields, building an overabundance in your power grid, and creating the industrial base that will mass produce the backbone of your army. For GDI, that backbone is the Titan. It outranges almost anything Nod can throw at you early on, so if you're playing GDI, your strategy isn't to rush. It's to hold your ground, to build up a critical mass, and then roll forward. You're winning the long game by using clearly sequenced planning and carefully managing production, not simply by using battlefield tactics alone. But here's where the game throws a wrench into pure brute force. What happens when the enemy knows they can't take you head on? They adapt. And in Tiberian Sun, that's where Nod's playstyle and the idea of making the enemy come to you gets deadly. Sun Tzu said, skilled warriors first make themselves invincible, then await the enemy's vulnerability. That's the defensive playstyle in a nutshell. You're not building an army to march across the map. You're building a fortress that the enemy will break themselves against. Now, GDI actually has the ultimate tool for this, the Firestorm wall. It's an energy shield that makes a section of your base temporarily invincible. But it's not a passive defense, it's a trap. You bait the enemy into attacking one area, pop the shield, and suddenly their whole assault force is stuck shooting at an invincible barrier while your Titans and Wolverines clean up from behind. Their aggression becomes their downfall. And it's not just walls. The developers spent forever on bridges. They admitted it took 10 times longer to program than expected, and those bridges are tactical choke points. A defensive player spots those natural bottlenecks, lets the enemy start crossing, and then blows the bridge with an engineer or masked rocket fire. Suddenly, you've turned their advance into an expensive, isolated trap without ever needing a massive army. Swooping in with a swarm of orcas to chew through an enemy formation that overextended itself with no retreat after you've blown the bridge they were going to cross, it's just too satisfying. So that's the brute force and the defense. But like many important things in life, there's always the third way, one that barely needs any force at all. This is the playstyle that makes you feel like a tactical genius. You win missions in a fraction of the time, and it's all about deception. Sun Tzu called deception the most important principle, and said, all warfare is based on deception. When able to attack, we must seem unable. And this is where Nod shines. Their whole faction is built around it. They don't have the same type of brute force strength of GDI, but they have the tools that let you control the battlefield without ever even fighting fair. Take the stealth generator. It can cloak a huge chunk of your base, making it invisible to the enemy. They might see your harvesters coming and going, but they have no idea where your production is. That's not just defense, it's psychological. You're forcing them to spread their forces thin, searching for something they might never find. And then you've got the units. The Devil's Tongue flame tank burrows underground and pops up behind enemy lines to hit harvesters and power plants. The stealth tank is invisible until it fires. Your goal isn't to crush the enemy base in one push, it's to paralyze them. So here's how that plays out. Say you're in the Nod campaign facing a fortified GDI base with walls and Titans. The frontal assault is suicide, but you've got a squad of stealth tanks. You don't send them to the front gate, you patrol around the map edge, avoiding their sentries, and hit their power plants. After some volleys, the base goes dark. Firestorm deactivates, defenses go offline. Now you're not attacking a fortress, you're attacking a sitting duck. Your small specialized unit just broke their entire system. Then bringing around your main assault force from the flanks to take down the base for the win, it's one of those good feelings you get in certain games that's almost unmatched. But here's the thing, GDI gets a taste of this playstyle too, and those missions are some of the most memorable in the game. Yeah, I'm talking about the stealth levels where you control the Forgotten, the mutant faction. You're not rolling in with Titans, you're sneaking through canyons as a commando armed with a sniper rifle or railgun, taking out enemy infantry one by one, leading your squad of mutants, each with different strengths that allow you to bring the fight to Nod deep behind enemy lines. Even walking through thick Tiberian fields, which actually regenerates your health. These missions were pretty hard, but really fun, since they force you to think completely differently. You have to scout ahead, pick off key targets, avoid patrols, and use the terrain to your advantage. One wrong move and it's over. It's tense and methodical, and when you finally pull it off, it feels more satisfying than any army you could have built. It's proof that in RTS, smarter beats stronger almost every time. So we've got GDI's overwhelming force, the impenetrable defense, and stealth and deception. But here's the thing, the best commanders don't just pick one, they blend them. Sun Tzu's ultimate idea is that the general who understands the situation best wins, and that means adapting. So take a pure brute force GDI player. They'll eventually hit a wall against a Nod player using stealth tanks to pick off harvesters and cripple their economy before the Titan army ever gets rolling. So the GDI player has to adapt by adding in Wolverines for anti-infantry, mixing it up with MLRS hover tanks with the speed to chase down those stealth units. Even putting a couple sensor units around the perimeter of your base to detect stealth units early. So you're still building up a powerful force, but you're adding layers to counter the enemy's deception. Or take a purely defensive player. They might build an unbreakable base, but if the enemy just expands to the other side of the map and builds up, you're sitting in a box, and at some point you have to unleash that army you've been protecting. Exceptional defense then becomes the foundation for a major offensive. But I'll be honest with you, I've always been a mech guy. Giant robots stomping around, metal feet shaking the ground. Yeah, that's my thing. I know, I have simple tastes. So when Tiberian Sun came out with the Titan and the Mammoth Mk, I was all in on GDI. There was nothing better than building up this massive sprawling base, getting the production line going that keeps cranking out these metal giants, and then watching them stomp across the map like an unstoppable tide. It felt like a dream come true, commanding a massive army of those walking war machines, just steamrolling Nod into dust. The ultimate power fantasy indeed, and a big part of what makes this game so great and still worth playing today. That's why Tiberian Sun has earned this cult following. At its core, the game is about pure strategy. Whether you were a kid in 1999 building a wall of Titans, or just now realizing the tactical genius of a well-placed engineer, the game forced you to think like a true commander. So, what's your favorite playstyle? Drop your war stories in the comments. I'm curious how you led the battles in Tiberian Sun, and I read every single one. Alright my friends, this is the Retro Gaming Boss signing out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.